I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you. At my age, people often ask me the same question. They look at my wrinkled face, my slow walk, the years written into my hands, and they ask, "How are you still here? How did you make it this far? What's your secret?" And every time, they expect some complicated answer, a special medicine, an expensive treatment, some miracle discovered by science. But the truth is much simpler than that. In fact, it's so simple that most people ignore it. You see, I'm not alive today because I was lucky every day. I'm not alive because life was easy. Life was never easy. I buried people I loved. I watched friends disappear one by one. I survived years that I thought would break me. There were nights when stress kept me awake until sunrise. There were seasons when money was scarce. There were years when my heart carried more pain than joy. Yet somehow, I'm still here. And when I look back over nearly a century of living, I realize something important. The foods we eat are not just fuel. They are quiet companions. They either help us survive or slowly help destroy us. Nobody tells you this when you're young. When you're young, you believe your body forgives everything. You eat whatever you want. You stay up all night. You ignore the warning signs. And somehow you still wake up feeling strong. But one day, the bill arrives. Not all at once, little by little. Your energy fades. Your joints complain. Your heart works harder. Your mind becomes slower. And that's when most people finally understand. The body never forgets. I learned this too late, but thankfully, not too late. And if I had to name the 7 foods that carried me through the hardest decades of my life, these would be them. The first one is oats. I know, not exciting, not glamorous, not something you'll see advertised like a miracle cure. But that's exactly why it's powerful. Oats taught me one of life's greatest lessons. The things that save you are often boring. Most people spend their lives chasing excitement, yet health comes from consistency. Every morning for decades, I ate a simple bowl of oats, nothing fancy, sometimes with fruit, sometimes plain. And while others chased quick fixes, my body quietly thanked me. At 70, I had more energy than some men at 50. At 80, my doctor looked at my numbers and smiled. That was the moment I understood. Small choices repeated thousands of times become your future. Not tomorrow, not next week, years later. Most people realize this at 80, not 30. The second food is fish. Now let me tell you something painful. I grew up watching strong men die young, men who seemed indestructible, men with powerful hands and powerful voices. Then one day, they were gone. Heart problems, stroke, illness, suddenly, unexpectedly. And as I got older, I began paying attention to the people who stayed healthy longest. There was a pattern. Many of them ate fish regularly, simple fish. Nothing expensive, nothing complicated, just honest food from nature. The older I became, the more I respected simplicity, because nature rarely lies. The foods humans thrived on for generations are often the foods we abandon first. And then we wonder why we feel exhausted, why inflammation grows, why our minds become cloudy. The answers are often sitting right on our plates. The third food is eggs. For years, people argued about eggs. Good, bad, healthy, unhealthy. The experts changed their minds so many times I stopped listening. Instead, I listened to my body. And my body gave me the answer. Eggs kept me strong. They kept me satisfied. They helped me maintain muscle when age tried to steal it away. You don't realize how important strength is until you start losing it. One day you can carry anything. Then one day you struggle with a grocery bag. A staircase becomes a challenge. A chair becomes difficult to rise from. That is when reality arrives. Aging isn't just about wrinkles. It's about independence. And independence is precious, because once you lose it, life changes forever. The fourth food is leafy greens. Now, this is where many people stop listening. Because vegetables are not exciting. But listen carefully. There is a reason people who reach old age often eat the same things. It's not because they lack imagination. It's because experience teaches patterns. I've seen people spend thousands chasing health, supplements, treatments, miracle products. Meanwhile, some of the healthiest people I ever knew filled their plates with simple greens. Spinach, kale, lettuce, whatever was available, and they did it consistently. The older I get, the more I realize that health isn't built by dramatic decisions. It's built by quiet habits. The habits nobody applauds. The habits nobody posts online. The habits nobody notices until decades later. The fifth food may surprise you. Beans. Yes, beans. I can already hear someone saying, "Surely it can't be that simple." But life often is. The problem is that people don't trust simple solutions. We trust expensive ones, complicated ones, difficult ones. But simple? We ignore them. Beans fed generations before us. They nourished families through hardship. They sustained people during war, during poverty, during uncertainty. And maybe that's why I respect them so much. Because survival is not about luxury. It's about resilience. I learned this during one of the hardest periods of my life. Money was tight, very tight. There were days when every dollar mattered, days when every meal had to stretch. And yet, those years taught me something valuable. Good health does not belong only to the rich. Some of the most nourishing foods on earth are also the most affordable. That realization changed how I viewed food forever. The sixth food is nuts. A handful, that's all. Not a bucket, not an entire bag, just a handful. And isn't that a lesson for life itself? Enough. Not excess. Enough. Most suffering comes from believing more is always better. More money, more food, more possessions, more attention, more everything. But age teaches a different truth. Enough is powerful. Enough creates balance. Enough protects you. Enough allows gratitude to grow. When I was younger, I thought happiness would arrive when I finally had more. At 90, I discovered happiness often arrives when you finally appreciate enough. That lesson changed my life, and perhaps it saved it too. Now let me tell you about the seventh food, the one that may be the most important of all. Fruit. Fresh fruit. Not because it's magical, not because it guarantees a long life. Nothing guarantees that. But because it reminds us of something we've forgotten. Nature knows what it's doing. The sweetest foods on earth once came from trees, from fields, from gardens, not factories, not laboratories, not endless ingredient lists nobody can pronounce. When I look at the modern world, I sometimes feel sad. Not because progress is bad. Progress has given us many blessings. But because convenience has replaced wisdom. We eat faster, but feel worse. We consume more, but enjoy less. We have endless choices, yet somehow less satisfaction. And that should make us stop and think. Because maybe the answer was never more complexity. Maybe the answer was remembering what worked all along. Now, before you think these 7 foods are the entire secret, let me tell you the truth. They are not. Because food alone cannot save a person. I have known healthy eaters who were deeply unhappy. I have known disciplined people who carried bitterness for decades. I have known individuals who took perfect care of their bodies while neglecting their hearts, and eventually, that cost them too. The real secret is bigger. Food matters, movement matters, sleep matters, but peace matters too, forgiveness matters, Purpose matters. Love matters. I learned this too late. For years I carried anger, old anger, heavy anger, the kind that follows you from room to room, the kind that sits beside your bed at night, the kind that steals your peace long before it steals your health. And one day I realized something. The people who hurt me had moved on, but I was still carrying the weight. That was the moment I understood. Sometimes survival requires letting go, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. Most people spend decades protecting their bodies while poisoning their minds, and the body eventually pays the price. At this age, I've come to see life differently. I no longer believe longevity is the greatest achievement. Anyone can live a long time. The real question is how you live. Did you love deeply? Did you laugh often? Did you forgive when it was difficult? Did you appreciate ordinary days? Because one day, those ordinary days become the days you miss most. Nobody tells you this when you're young. You think the big moments are what matter. The promotions, the achievements, the milestones. But when you're 90 years old, the memories that return are surprisingly small. A meal shared with family, a conversation that lasted too long, a sunset you almost ignored, a grandchild's laugh, a quiet morning, a simple dinner. The ordinary moments become extraordinary memories, and perhaps that is life's greatest irony. We spend our youth chasing what matters least, while overlooking what matters most. So yes, these 7 foods helped keep me alive. Oats, fish, eggs, leafy greens, beans, nuts, and fruit. But if I leave you with only one lesson today, let it be this. Your future is being built right now, not someday, today. Every meal, every habit, every choice, every thought, every act of kindness, every act of neglect. They are all writing the story of the person you will become. And one day, many years from now, you will look back, just as I am looking back today. And you will either thank yourself or wish you had listened sooner. I hope you listened sooner, because life is shorter than it appears. The years move quietly. Then suddenly, you are old, and you realize time was never slowing down. It was you who failed to notice it passing. Take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of your heart, protect them all, because reaching old age is a gift. But reaching old age with strength, peace, gratitude, and dignity, that is something truly rare. And if my long life has taught me anything, it's this. The things that keep you alive are usually simple. The things that matter most are usually free. And the wisdom you need has often been sitting right in front of you all along.